Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sim's YouTube channel, and welcome back to another episode here on the beautiful Fenton Forest Farm. My name is Jerry. Thanks for coming back for another episode. We're going to get right into the action today. We are in a brand new game day, as you can tell. It is just coming up on 7 o'clock in the morning as we remember to advance our time up a bit. And let me go ahead and get rid of that. We're going to get rid of the show lines. Hopefully that enhancement, if you want to call it that, will be made to this mod fairly soon. I'd like to see that get made where we can turn that off or assign a key button to that. That's what the deal more or less is. So there's a great demand at Port Northwest, but don't know what the great demand is. Let's take a look at it and just see, just so that we can stay on top of this stuff. Great demand at Port Northwest for what, though, I wonder? I wonder why it doesn't pop up and show us what that is. Port Northwest, maybe that's it, 849 for barley. So we don't have a whole lot of that. Hopefully we'll get a great demand for some corn or for some things that we have, and we will try. I think the goal is going to be to try to sell at the particular point in time when we have a great demand. Of course, that's obviously the smart way to go about doing things. Of course, we wanted to sell that wheat because A, we had an abundance of it, and B, we wanted to kind of parlay that money into the purchase of that new field. And we're going to go up there and we're going to harvest that new field now. We actually have Billy Bob, Jack, and everybody is all hands on deck up there. We've got the combine running the corn header, and Billy Bob's driving the combine, and he needs to be unloaded, so we'll get up there and get that done for him. And then Jack is driving the Mack Semi and our large tipper trailer, the I think it's 59,000 liter volume there that we usually use to transport our grain to the mill. We've got that up there. I don't know, well, we might anticipate getting a full load. That would certainly be nice to be able to get a fairly good load out of that field, considering that our investment has mainly just been the purchase of the field. We didn't have to buy the seeds or the fertilizer or anything like that. And it looks like he's full on the first headland. Now that's not a super huge field, as you probably know. We'll look twice, look both directions there as we cross our tracks. And we are driving our Fendt tracked vehicle. We have not used this particular tractor as of yet. Not really sure. It was part of the starting fleet that Stevie put on the map, and so it is what it is, and we're going to use it and take advantage of it. We kind of thought maybe that tracked vehicle might come in handy on this elevated terrain, just as we drive up there to empty and fill up the Mack Semi. So I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. It is Monday in the real world, and I am trying to get my week's worth of recordings done, just because I've got a lot of work to do today, or a lot of work to do this week in the office. I've got to travel down to Colorado Springs later this week to work in the office down there. We've got 3 offices here in the greater Denver area. Obviously, my office is in the southeast portion of Denver, as I get a drink of my iced tea. And we have an office up in Broomfield, and then we have an office down in Colorado Springs, and those are the 3 Colorado locations. So thankfully they are relatively close. We don't need our beacons, do we, out here on the field? It wouldn't, obviously, if it were a situation where, for example, if I still lived in Texas and we had an office in Dallas and an office in Houston and maybe an office in Austin or something, there would be quite a bit of driving to do there. But since I'm sort of centrally located, my office is somewhat in the middle of the 3, if you will. It's only about 35 miles up to Broomfield for me, and it's about 50 miles to Colorado Springs. So not, not too much of a haul, but it is what it is. But yeah, this field is not going to be super huge. I don't really know how much volume we'll get out of it, and hopefully we can just quickly get the boys over here once we get the corn off the field and get this thing turned around. And it is cloudy today, so hopefully we'll get this corn in before it starts raining. And I would also like to, within this particular game day, I would also like to go ahead and get the remaining, I think it is oats. I just keep forgetting what we have planted because I didn't plant it. But yeah, we've got oats on field 5 down here, so it won't be this episode, and I might just do that off camera. That might be just sort of the best thing to do, is do that off camera, get that field harvested and get that in. The oats, obviously, we will keep the oats simply because we need them for our horses. They actually eat quite a bit, funnily enough, and I think we've got 10 horses or 12 or something like that. I'm not sure what the total capacity is, but as it's a brand new game day, we wanted to get on this field before we even bothered checking on the animals. Of course, Billy Bob did get up early and just made sure that there wasn't any urgent need or anything like that, but we managed to feed them and everything, and they're all topped up from the day before, so we knew that today was going to be sort of devoted to the harvest. And then the other thing that we obviously have to do as well is we obviously have our silage that is ready to go. We've got silage both at the main farm, at our main farm, which will obviously go into storage, and then we also have some silage. We've got about 100, maybe about 150, 160,000 liters of silage over at the BGA as well that we are obviously going to be selling. So we're just going to take that and take the wheel loader and load that into the silage or into the bio facility and make a little bit of money there. Now, I will tell you, just for sake of full disclosure, I suppose I should say, it does not appear that Courseplay is not yet compatible with the bucket options and everything. So we'll either have to do that manually, or we will have to take a conveyor over and do it that way. And I'm not opposed to doing it either way, quite honestly. So yeah, I think we can easily get 59,000 liters out of this field. So that's a full tipper, because we're setting at 32,000 now, and we have emptied him just twice, and so I don't even think he was full that time. So I think that'll do all right. I think this field will be all right. Now we'll probably crop rotate this, all of our fields, most likely. I'm kind of thinking that with the big field, we'll probably put, what was I thinking to put in field number 1 over here? Maybe oats over here, just because I kind of have a feeling that our horses are going to demand quite a bit of oats. But I think I'm also going to put in some sugar beets as well this time around. And then maybe not this year, what would be considered this spring planting and everything, but I think that we may also, maybe next year, kind of depending on how things go, we might go ahead and put all of this as cotton, unless we were to maybe consider, but man, that's $672,000. We are well over $600,000 short of that goal. But I do want to do some cotton. I have really yet to do it. I've not done it in a Let's Play for sure, and not really done much of it other than just run the cotton baler in some test maps just to kind of see how things go. And we will come along and clean up some of this corn, just because there's an awful lot of corn there that we certainly do not want to waste. and that's just kind of the issues with course play, is it does miss a little bit, but if you've got a fairly large field, then obviously the little bit of corn, a little bit of whatever, wheat or whatever you've got planted is not going to break the bank too bad. Now he should do his he should be done with his circle route, so with his headlands he should be basically running up and downs now. I think he's just going to go up here and get set for the next one. So we're going to come up here and empty him while he is on this course, and go ahead and get him emptied. From a couple of episodes ago, I was kind of not really complaining, but talking a little bit about the speed at which the header was set, Stevie's modded version of the Draper 45-foot header. I did modify that. I slowed that back down to 6 or 7. I think runs at about 7 miles per hour now, and I'm not opposed to, certainly not opposed to, let's see which side the chute, yeah, the chute goes that way. I'm not opposed to modded things in any way. I'm not opposed to anyone who likes to enhance the capacities, increase the capacities, or speed things up, or whatever. I would never, how you play the game is completely up to you, as I've always said. But for me, I think that it was causing a little bit of a problem with the way that course play was having issues keeping up. And I think this trailer is just a tad bit too tall, but that's okay. I've often talked about that. I've often talked about the fact that some of these pieces of equipment don't always match up. Now, I suppose one could argue and say, well, you should be using a different type of tipper for this particular exercise. And I will tell you that I would actually, and I did when I played the very first version of the testing version of Fenton Forest Farm. When I played this back several weeks ago, and I sort of did it off camera, I will tell you that I use this guy here. Let me go over here and take a look at it here. I used one of these belly dumps. And the problem with this is either one of these, whether it's the pace setter or it's the Load King Distinction, the problem with some of the sell points on this map, and it doesn't have anything to do with Stevie, it's just the sell point models that he used, for lack of a better description, I suppose, have somewhat of an elevated sell point to them. So you kind of have to go up an incline to reach the place where you dump your grain. Well, those belly dump trailers, and this was an issue on other maps, even in Farm Sim 17, those belly dump trailers will often high center on those types of things. There's just not enough of the incline is not long enough so that the tractor or the truck, whatever it is that you're pulling, well, obviously you'd be using a truck to pull that. The incline is not long enough where the truck and the trailer can maintain some stability before the grain middle portion of the trailer, the grain dump is what I'm looking at, trying to come up with the correct wording, basically becomes high centered. So that is the reason why I'm not using one of those types of trailers on this map. I really haven't decided. I often like to play a map regionally. I like my British maps, and I like to try to use British style equipment for those maps. I absolutely love my American style maps, and I do certainly try to use American style equipment for that. This map, this series, I'm not necessarily being bothered by saying that it's European or it's British or it's American. Obviously this is based on Felsbrunn, and so there's still some characteristics of it being European, but it's just somewhat generic in nature enough to where that I don't think we need to necessarily bottle ourselves down by saying that it is European or it is British or it is American or whatever. We're just having fun, and I think that's all that really matters at this particular point in time. So speaking of having fun, and speaking of news and stuff related to Farm Sim 19, and obviously again today is Monday the 4th of March, and I cannot believe that it is so blasted cold in March here in Colorado. It was around 0 degrees this morning when I went to work at about 5:15. And though this type of weather is certainly stuff that we normally don't see this time of the year. Normally by the time we hit March, we've already gotten rid of the sub-freezing type temperatures. It's below freezing, of course, but we have our highs up in the upper 40s or low 50s or whatever, and it cools down to the 30s or whatever at night. Or maybe that's interesting. What did I do to press that? That's I pressed F9 for that. I don't even know what that was that came up on the screen. I meant to do that, and then I meant to do this, because we're going to grab a screenshot here in just a moment. But what I was going to say before I started talking about how blasted cold it is here in Denver today, and of course I know that many places in the country are experiencing cold weather as well. Texas is quite cold today. But we had some news today regarding our next upcoming DLC that will be coming out, and what do you guys think about that? And I need to try to drive straight, trying to look backwards and do the opposite of what I just can't do that with this tractor. Gosh, I am just making a mess out of this, aren't I? There we go. Anyway, the DLC, I'm going to get that out here in just a moment. There we go. So the new DLC, it is Anderson Group Equipment Pack. And this, as far as I'm concerned, and of course I will be the first to admit that I am not as in tune with all the ongoings and all the news and everything with Farm Sim 19. I don't know. I just haven't been, I've not been that engaged with it. And I know it's mainly been because of my schedule. It's been because of how busy I've been. And of course I've had some, time off, and I wasn't, I was trying to be excited about the release of it and all that kind of stuff. But like many of you, I was just as disappointed as the rest. And well, we've got our first DLC coming out, and it's going to be coming out later this month. The web page that I'm looking at doesn't have the specific March the 26th, so basically later this month. We still have about 22, 21 days, something like that, from the time that I'm recording this. But it looks like there's maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe about 10 to a dozen pieces of equipment or so, and looks like most everything, a variety of stuff. There's some logging equipment, there's some baling equipment, and such. I'm kind of interested in a couple of different pieces of that DLC. Now, I know I said that I probably would refrain from essentially giving Giants any more money until they pushed the patch out. Now, we can all speculate, we can all wonder, well, will we see the patch before the DLC comes out? Will the DLC come out first and then the patch? If I were a betting man, and well, I've been known to bet lunches and stuff like that from time to time. I don't get into high stakes gambling or anything like that, but if I were a betting man, and let's just go ahead and say that I'm going to throw a wager out there, I would wager to guess that we will see the patch before the DLC comes out, because I would speculate that Giants may want to make sure that FarmSim 19 is working as potentially as well as possible as it could. I'm trying to get a screenshot and just really being unsuccessful with it. So I think we're going to have to just get our screenshot as we dump grain into the tipper over there. But I would think that it's going to come out in before this DLC. So sometime before the 26th. I suppose that is one of the reasons, and I know I'm changing the subject here, bouncing around to different conversations. I suppose that's one of the reasons why I liked the. I'm trying to think. It was basically the combine enhanced. Well, it wasn't called enhanced. It was It used to be called Auto Combine, I think, for FarmSim 15, and there was Auto Tractor that didn't work very well. And then when they released it for 17, they sort of combined the two functionalities. But I think that that's one of the things that I liked about that, because I don't know, for example, if maybe I'm just missing something, but is there, I would need to turn my HUDs back on again, but he's finished the combine opposite turn direction. Am I just missing a setting? Is there actually a setting that the combine will stop? Maybe there will be eventually. Maybe it's just not on here right now. But anyway, I think we can probably do this. I think we can get our screenshot now that he's done. Actually, let me go back over here and do this, because I want to turn him off. I want to stop him so that sign goes away. There we go. But anyway, what I was saying is that maybe there's just a setting that I'm not aware of, or maybe it's not activated yet. But anyway, that is that. No, I'll come around off camera and I'm going to tidy up this field just a little bit, because waste not, want not is something else that I frequently say from time to time. And of course, I'm going to have to get out and go around over here, and we'll try to squeeze through here without getting ourselves hurt, and get that emptied, and get over here. And get our shot. All right, finally. My gosh, that took quite the effort to do. Thanks for hanging in there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to speculate that we've got 69%. So I think we're going to come up. I think we're going to be pretty close to. Stop it. I think we're going to come up, be pretty close to where we need to be as far as getting this trailer filled up, and. That'll be a pretty decent haul off this field, I think. Again, off camera, I'm going to clean up the rest of this field. I also believe that off camera, I'm going to go ahead and harvest the oats off of the other field, and then that way, when we come together, we will be ready to probably start getting some of these fields maybe replanted. We're going to probably get around to getting the BGA. At least getting the BGA set up, and again, I might just come and do that with the conveyor, because again, we don't have the functionality to basically do that any other way, at least with courseplay. And again, I'm not opposed to doing it manually, because my gosh, I scooped many a scoop of silage in the FarmSim 15 days before I even found out about courseplay for FarmSim 15. And of course, FarmSim 15, we all know that silage at the BGA was our cash crop. That was just what we all used to make millions of dollars and fund all of our fun and everything that we had with that particular version. So, but obviously I will most likely do the conveyor, and we'll get some money put back into the coffers. We'll just see. We'll just see how much we have. Obviously, my main concern, from a financial perspective, is just to make sure that we have enough money to put seeds back into the ground to get all of our fields ready to go again. And of course, I'm not sure what the condition of this field is. Whether we could check that right quick. We'll just jump out and see. So it needs plowing. It does not need lime. So we're going to be okay there. But we do need to put seeds back into the ground, and we need to make sure that we have enough money to do that. As I've said before, I'm not opposed to taking out a bank loan, but I don't think that we'll be taking out a huge bank loan in order to buy more fields, at least not this cycle. We'll see how well we do with our crops and everything at the end of this next season, and then just kind of make our gameplay go from there. So thank you all so much for watching, folks. This will be a little bit of a short episode. I have blabbed along and kind of made a fool out of myself, I think. Not really. I don't really care anyways, and I know most of my friends don't care either. So thank you all again for watching. Take very good care of yourself. Enjoy March. Don't let March get too far ahead of us. And come back and see us again right here on Fenton Farm very, very soon. Bye-bye for now.